Welcome, everyone. Are you able to hear me? Fantastic. All right. Welcome to day 2 of our business meeting. Welcome to everybody from around the world. Take a look, scroll to the second page, and enjoy a nice warm embrace by letting your arms go out to the side and acknowledging the fact that we're building community again for ATI's business. Great. Thank you. I'm Diana Bradley. I will be your facilitator for part 1 of our business meeting today. So we are now moving into our meeting intentions. Slide, please.
Intenciones.
Yes, do we have a volunteer who would like to read the meeting intentions?
Oh, that's Harold.
Harold, thank you, Harold.
Of course. Intenciones de la reunión general anual. El propósito de esta reunión es llevar a cabo los asuntos de ATI. Lo consideraremos como una conversación de aprendizaje en la medida de lo posible. Escucharemos y participaremos con buena voluntad y supondremos que los demás también actúan con buena voluntad. Cuidaremos de nosotros mismos y escucharemos con respeto y resiliencia, especialmente cuando sentimos emociones fuertes.
Thank you, Harold. All right, next slide will be presenting and consenting to our agenda. Here's the part 1. We've already done caption instructions video. We've seen each other, meeting intentions. All right. We have our formal consensus roles. Let's take a look at those to make sure they're filled.
I think we go through the agenda first to consent.
Okay. And do that at the end. Okay, thank you. All right. So we have the Agenda Planning Committee beginning announcements, then the formal consensus brief review, then a light and lively. Then the Professional Development Committee has a proposal, so we'll do presentation and clarifying questions. Then we'll take a 5-minute screen break. Then we'll move into a level 1 discussion on the PDC proposal. Then another light and lively. Then the PDC proposal level 2 gathering of concerns. Then we'll have pre-break announcements from the Agenda Planning Committee. Are there any concerns about Part 1 agenda? Seeing no concerns, let's go ahead and move to Part 2. Thank you. All right, so after that, we will continue gathering concerns if needed on the proposal. Then we'll have 5 minutes for announcements. Then a light and lively. Then we move into an Ethics Advisory Committee input on working policy. Then we have the Nominations Committee. They will announce voting and openings. Then the Agenda Planning Committee ending announcements, and the meeting evaluation, and seeing each other as we close our business meeting. Are there any concerns about Part 2's agenda? All right, seeing no concerns, we've consented to our agenda, and it belongs to the whole group. All right, let's carry on. Looks like we're at the agenda. Okay, now we get to do our roles. We have the agenda planners, the note taker, meeting intentions, facilitator, part 1. Mary Lou is assisting. Part 2 will be Mary Lou and Gabby. Doorkeeper is Liz. Public scribe, Diane Sales. Public scribe number 2, Sarah Goldstein. Looks like we need a peacekeeper. Is there a volunteer for a peacekeeper? Feel free to raise your hand, especially.
Maria has her hand up.
Thank you.
I can do it.
Thank you very much. All right. We have an advocate is Renee Jackson. Tech advocate will be Kelsey. Language advocate is Irena. And formal consensus advocate is Liz Talbert. A light and lively is Robin Gilmore. A light and lively, the second one is Teresa Lee. And our last one, which is short in time, do we have a volunteer? Oh, it looks like Tanya raised her hand. Thank you, Tanya. And our timekeeper is Harold Rivas. Wonderful. We have all our roles filled. Okay. So next, let's move into the Agenda Planning Committee, beginning announcements. Jennifer, you'll need to unmute yourself.
Hello. So, Agenda Planning Committee announcements. How to view Professional Development Committee proposal. Follow the link posted in the chat. In 2024 AGM Basecamp, go to Docs and Files, PDC, Demonstration of Knowledge Proposal. It will be screen shared during the meeting.
Great. Thank you so much. And that screen sharing will be at the top of your screen. It will look like a tab. Okay. Let's look at the formal consensus process next. And this is similar to the flow chart you saw yesterday that Kathy presented. It's just a different format. So once again, there will be a presentation of the proposal with clarifying questions. Then we'll have a level 1 discussion where we evaluate our values and compare them to the proposal to see if it matches ATI's values. Then we'll have a level 2 discussion, raising concerns. We gather those together. Then we move to a level 3 where we resolve concerns. And that's how the process will work today. I will keep us informed as to where we are throughout the process. Okay. So we have a light and lively. Robin, take it away.
Good morning, good afternoon, good day, all of us. I'm going to do a kind of mishmash because that's what I feel like doing. But my hands are a bit chilly, so let's warm up our hands. Like so, get some heat going. And then place your palms over your eyes and trace down your face and make a nice blah sound. Do that a couple times. Blah. Lovely. Okay, so now we're going to open the domes of our hands and feet. You can't see my feet, but you can see my hands. So I'm doing this. It's like, so it's like our diaphragm. This is the active phase, and that's the rebound. So do the same thing with your feet, if you can manage that. So you're opening your feet and your hands. This is also waking up postural tone, which is something I learned from Bonnie Bainbridge Cohen. Lovely. Pumping. And this is something you can do anytime. It's good to do. All right. Now we're going to find a spot sort of just under your collarbones. And with these two fingers, just directly under your collarbones, just give yourself a good zhuzh. That was time? No, I have 1 minute. So you're giving yourself a good zhuzh. These are, I call them your wakey points to energize yourself. Okay, lovely. Shake it out. Now let's wake up the hemispheres of our brain. So tap both sides of your skull all around. Tap, 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 tap. And now rub, 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 rub both sides. Okay, now tap with your right, rub with your left. So we're tapping with our right, rubbing with our left. Wake up I see you, Mary Lou. Tap with your left, rub with your right. Time's up. So cross your midline and give yourself a pat on the back and say, all right, job well done. Have a great meeting, everyone.
Thank you, Robin. That was lovely. Oh, that was fantastic. All right, so we are now moving into the Professional Development Committee's proposal. And I believe it is Catherine who will be presenting it and getting clarifying questions.
We first have a video. Please turn up your volume. We've had some issues with the volume when playing these videos.
Hi, I'm Catherine Kettrick with the Professional Development Committee, and I am going to present to you a proposal that we have for this year's AGM. But first, some history. When we started ATI, we had two important ideas. The first one, we did not want to approve training programs. At the time, STAT had a system of approving training programs, and the model they used was inherited from Alexander. It was how he taught, it was how he trained, and you're probably familiar with it. 3 years, 1,600 hours, 5-to-1 teacher-student ratio, learning various procedures, chair work, table work, etc. And STAT used this model and approved training programs that use this model. Well, none of us were trained in this model. In fact, none of us were trained in any one model. We trained differently, and we wanted to be sure that a person could train any way they wanted to train and still be evaluated for a teaching certificate, which led us to the second important idea, establishing the Professional Development Committee. The Professional Development Committee was established to develop the teaching and the training of teachers in the Alexander Technique as a profession, hence the title, Professional Development. We were given 4 tasks. I'm only going to talk about 3. So the first task was to define the distinct theory and body of knowledge of the F. Matthias Alexander Technique, and members approved this in 1998. The second task was to objectively delineate the practice of the Alexander Technique as defined in Part 1, including the use of the technique by individuals, the teaching of the technique, and the training of teachers, which was approved in 1999. Those 2 tasks gave us the theory and body of knowledge of the Alexander Technique, what we could base our teaching on. Then we had task 3. Task 3, develop a means for evaluating the competencies of teachers. So then we thought, well, how are we going to do that? And the first thing we decided we needed were criteria. Criteria that will tell us when we know that someone is qualified to teach. We developed those criteria. Members approved them in 2000. And these criteria are the only ones in the entire Alexander Technique world that uses qualitative descriptions of the knowledge and skills a person needs to be certified. Qualitative descriptions. ATI is so cool. No one else has this. And ATI sponsors committed to using these criteria when they evaluated someone for a teaching certificate. So, just as an aside, criteria are not standards. Back to this narration. In 2004, we proposed separating the demonstration and knowledge part of the criteria from the demonstration of teaching skills part. And candidates would do their demonstrations of knowledge before meeting with their 3 ATI sponsors. Our reason for this is that it would give candidates an opportunity to review what they learned, to go deeper into their knowledge, to just get it nice and well thought out before they met with their ATI sponsors. And it gives the ATI sponsors a chance to review what the candidates are thinking. We did that, and we had the criteria and the demonstrations of knowledge, but we didn't have any prompts for what a candidate had to actually demonstrate in each of these areas. It was Alexander's writings, anatomy, ethics. These are big areas. So we developed prompts for each of those areas. And all of this information is on the proposal that's in Basecamp. It all has links. So we did that. Members approved each of those prompts. Then, in 2019, we started a pilot project, which is the proposal you have today. So our proposal is to take that pilot project and make it into a policy. So here is the proposal. That candidates would be responding to the prompts for each of the demonstrations of knowledge in the areas of ethics, anatomy, and Alexander's writings, either in video, audio, or written form, either individually or as a group. Submitting their 3 demonstrations of knowledge for review to any ATI teaching member with an ATI teaching certificate who has completed the demonstrations of knowledge and who has chosen to be a reader. Number 3 is submitting those 3 demonstrations of knowledge to their ATI sponsors. That's the proposal. Since we've been doing this pilot project, we've learned a lot. Readers typically have a conversation with the candidate to talk about their demonstrations of knowledge, to make sure they're accurate, to make sure they're complete. Sometimes candidates leave things out to make sure they're clear. So if you're watching something or reading something and you go, oh, I didn't think that sentence was going to go there, I don't know what they mean, you have a chance to ask the candidate for more information. Candidates always have the right to take those comments from a reader and use them or not use them. ATI sponsors are responsible for deciding whether or not the candidate has demonstrated their knowledge as well as demonstrated their teaching skills. There is a document on Basecamp that says Guidelines for Readers, and that explains the procedures that the committee has developed for readers. So, if you have any questions, you can come to the AGM and get them answered. And thank you very much. Bye. So there is some information that we forgot to put in the video or in the rationale. So far, 35 people have completed a demonstration of knowledge since we started the pilot project. We have 9 readers, 4 of them for Alexander's writings, 6 for anatomy, and 5 for ethics. And if you're wondering why the numbers across the bottom don't add up to 9, it's because readers choose which area they want to read in. So some people read in one area, some in 2. You can read in 3. It's up to you. So, Diana, I believe we're open for questions.
Yes, we are open for questions. This is the time to bring forward any clarifying questions you might have about the proposal. Sarah Barker, you'll need to unmute yourself. And
Hi.
you.
First, thank you for this incredible work that has had your dedication for so many years. I wanted you to help me visualize or imagine what a demonstration of knowledge in a group looks like. I'm sure that you went round and round and discussed this a great deal, but it's a little surprising to me that there is a group presentation. So can you help me understand what that means?
Sure. There's actually something we wrote. I think it's on the ATI website. When you go to the place where the prompts are, there's this little sort of letter explaining about group responses. And the thing about group responses is that everyone in the group has to respond individually. We wanted to get, so if we're talking about Alexander's writings and they're talking about primary control is this, it means this to me, etc. And they have to do that in a group. We wanted to offer that option because it can be a lot more friendly to be with your friends and talk about these things and look at a camera or write something.
I see. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, is there another clarifying question? Wow.
Ariel has her hand up.
Thanks,
Uh,
Mary Lou.
As well as David. I guess Ariel was first.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Do I understand correctly that sending your demonstration of knowledge to a reader is voluntary? So in other words, someone could choose to skip that step
No,
and just send please clarify for me.
the proposal says that candidates submit their 3 demonstrations of knowledge for review to readers. So that's number 2 in the proposal. It's not voluntary.
Okay, thank you.
All right, David Owen, please.
So I first read the individually or in a group as to be a group of submissions rather than a group of people doing the same submission. So I'm assuming that one submits each demonstration to a particular reader who handles that sort of thing. So it's 3 submissions.
If I understand your question, if a group gets together to do the Alexander's writings prompt, that as a video, for example, this is what we've done this once. It happened once. So, and they submitted the whole video as a group, but the person who viewed it would look at each individual to see if they fulfilled the prompt. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Great.
And you would have to make 3 presentations, 1 for each subject.
If you wanted to do them as a group for each subject, yes.
Yes. Or individually, you still
Or
make 3 separate.
Yes.
Yes. That's clear?
Thank you. Okay. Yes, Irena.
Hello. Yeah, thank you also for, I think you're doing this work now since 2019, so that is really, yeah, amazing. So I'm not really sure whether I read this or heard it. So if somebody wants to go through the certification process, they do not need to do every demonstration of knowledge at the same time.
No.
But they even could be in their training,
Yes.
still in their training, and then say, okay, I want to think about this theme more.
Exactly. Anytime they have enough knowledge in Alexander's writings, they can do that in anatomy. It might be in the first year of their training. It's up to them.
So, but this is, it would also mean that you would not, you cannot go to do your demonstration of teaching skills before doing the demonstration of knowledge.
Yes, that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
All
Okay,
right.
thank you.
Thank you. Corinne.
So this is the entire proposal, right?
Yes.
And so I guess Irene just helped me. This is just concerning the demonstration of knowledge.
Yes.
Okay, great. And I guess I just wanted to, I mean, as you were explaining the groups, I was just imagining, the group idea not only being less intimidating, but also making things maybe easier in a training course setting. For instance, you have several trainees at the same relative stage, and they all want to, do the demonstration of anatomy. And so then you have a conversation and you film that in which each one speaks. So I think I understand that also as a possibility.
Yes.
Of the an advantage of the group. So I like that option. Thank you for your work. Yeah, I was just clarifying that, but it looks really good.
Thank you, Corinne. Diane. Oh, you need.
Hi. So this is more of a practical question. In sponsorship, there is a fee, for the sponsor. Is there a fee for the reader?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe we should do that.
Sarah.
This may be outside of this scope, but I'm thinking about the sponsors receiving the demonstration of knowledge and being responsible for being the final adjudicators of the accuracy of these demonstrations. Where is the orientation or where are the answers that the readers are using? Where is the guidance that the readers have that could be shared with the sponsors? Is that part of your thinking?
There is no guidance per se on content, and we may want to develop something like that, sort of training for readers. The readers are only responsible for making sure that the information is accurate. Do they have the correct dates and birth and death dates of Alexander and his brother? Do they have all of his books? So is it complete? Did they leave something out or not? And is it clear? Because every so often you'll get something and there'll be a word there, and for me, did they mean that or did they mean something else? And so I ask, and almost always the response is, oh no, I meant this, or it's a typo. So all we're looking for is it clear, is it accurate, and is it complete? But there's nothing that says the answers have to be this, because that's not our job as readers. It's this ATI sponsor's job to look at what the person has written or videoed and said, yes, that's correct. That's what that means or not. Does that make sense?
It does. So I see that there is a need for sponsors to the whole certification process to be clearly developed so
Mhm.
that sponsors who are now responsible, I think, by this proposal for a clearer demonstration of understanding of Alexander's principles and writings on anatomy and ethics, that we get more clear about that. That's clearly a new proposal. So
Yes. Thank
I'm
you, Sarah.
aware of that. Yeah.
Very nice. That's great. Okay, Tanya. And as a reminder, we had 20 minutes for this session, and we have a minute and 15 seconds. Tanya.
I have a clarifying question in relation to the other clarifying questions about the group. You said that the reader will take a look individually to see how each person in the group is responding. But if it's in a group setting and it's a video, how does the reader, how would the reader do that? Could you please explain that further?
Well, as I said, it's happened once, so we don't have a lot of experience. But basically, you would, and we always ask people to identify themselves. So say your name, and my name is Catherine Kettrick. I think primary control means this to Alexander, and I understand it this way. And when I use it, I do this. So everyone explains what they think, for example, these concepts of Alexander's writings are. And or anatomy, whatever. So it's individual, and the reader would have to look at each person and go, yep, 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 and check it off that way. I'm not sure that group settings are the best way to do this, but we wanted to offer that as an option. Best in the sense of easiest to review, or yeah.
All right, thank you. I see that we have more time than I thought. I think my timekeeper is doing this in 10-minute increments. If I'm wrong, let me know, timekeeper. But it looks like we have 9.5 more minutes. Bill Conable.
My question is for people who are right now in the middle of a sponsoring process, does this apply retroactively?
No.
Thank you, Bill. Maria.
Yeah, I'm asking this question now as a sponsor. Is there already something, if you're a sponsor, can you be a reader?
Yes.
In one, when we have a sponsoring candidate, should the reader be different to the sponsors?
We
or
don't.
Is there nothing?
Yes, that's not part of this proposal. Yes, ATI sponsors may be readers. My personal opinion is that if it's your trainee, you should ask them to go somewhere else because you know what they think and they know what you think. And it's good to get three different people's view of your demonstrations of knowledge, but that's just my opinion. And yes, ATI sponsors may be readers.
All right.
Teacher trainees. Sorry, teacher trainees may be readers.
All right. Danny.
Yes, I'm raising my hand for Tommy.
Okay. Tommy.
Thank you. Thank you. What if a person, well, first of all, the readers are only checking for accuracy.
Accuracy, completeness, and clarity.
And clarity. Now, if a particular reader decides on one of the areas that there's not clarity, does the person who's applying for sponsorship have the opportunity to show up again?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Usually what happens, Tommy, is we have a conversation and go through whatever the demonstration of knowledge is, and we make sure that everything is there, because sometimes people just literally don't do part of the prompt, and we make sure that it's accurate. So are the dates right? Are there any typos? Things like that mess with it. And we make sure it's clear, and we have a conversation So it's always I don't quite understand what you mean here. Can you explain this a bit more? And then they'll explain it a bit more. And then the person who's doing their demonstration can take that feedback, improve their demonstration of knowledge, and then send it to their ATI sponsors.
So the individual reader does have that degree of responsibility and authority.
Yes,
Okay.
we have to do those three things. That's all.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Tommy.
Thank you.
Corinne, another clarifying question.
Yeah, isn't there, speaking of that, those checking for accuracy, if you're checking for accuracy there, I mean, having gone through several times the pilot project as a sponsor, not as a reader or not as a trainee, but having gone through it with my trainees, I mean, helping them through the pilot project and using that, I'm aware that there are certain things that need to show up in the demonstration of knowledge. So there are certain content, like you mentioned, okay, the dates, the books, and then for the anatomy, for instance, I mean, those things have also gone through in our story, they have gone through formal consensus. So you have to talk about primary control,
right?
For instance. So there are some content. So where does that? I mean, that doesn't fit in today with the proposal, but that comes attached with it somewhere, right? Or
it's in number 1, Corinne, responding to the prompts.
Okay.
So the prompts say what you have to talk about.
Okay, and then the reader is aware that they need to check the presence of all these prompts. So that's where the content, okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Thank you, Corinne. I would like to just add that we're slightly slipping into concerns, if I'm hearing things correctly. So I'd like you to be knowledgeable that this is just clarifying these 3 areas, what the proposal is there to change. Now it's just been voluntary, the pilot project. This is saying we'd like this for this proposal. So just bear that in mind. We have 4.5 minutes. Irene, next.
Yeah, hello. It is coming up with all these questions. So as I listen to you, a new question arises. I think it is a question about perspective. From which perspective is this proposal coming to us? So I hear a little bit that it should be a help for ATI sponsors, so that sponsors are not have to check on this, like, is everything accurate? Is everything there thing?
Yes.
And then the other perspective is, I remember that the pilot project, and please tell me if this is right, that it was more thought also about a learning experience, so that there maybe the readers could be quite young teachers, or even being trainees, having speak to each other and having a learning conversation. So I wonder whether this is still in this realm of readers.
If I'm understanding you, both of those perspectives are here. We want the trainees, the candidates, to have conversations with whomever they want to help them understand these ideas. Then they have to themselves do each of those demonstrations of knowledge, meet with a reader, have a final check to see if everything is there, accurate, etc., so that it allows them to review what they've learned. They feel more confident going for their evaluation. They just have gotten more clarity on the 3 areas. And then the ATI sponsors have some kind of document, video, etc., that is, in my opinion, better prepared because it's been reviewed and checked first. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we have just under 2 minutes, and I see some repeat hands up. David, would you be willing to yield to a new person? Has your clarifying question, is it a brand new one? Shall we?
It's actually new.
Okay, go ahead.
So a group presentation might have been video, and if that's let's say approved, for want of a better word, by the reader, does that video then go to the sponsor?
That would be the case.
And so if there are different sponsors for different candidates in that video, the sponsor's got to pick out from the video their own candidate.
Yes, and now that you say that, I'm not sure that, I mean, if the someone wants to do this in a group, they might, excuse me, might want to edit the video, so only they are in the video that they send to their ATI sponsors. I'm not sure group is a good idea, but we're trying to offer every option available.
Sounds like a little bit of a concern as well.
Yeah, sorry.
Jim Pacer, we've got a half a minute. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, as a member of the Ethics Advisory Committee, the question of the interim working policy, the statement of belonging, access, and non-discrimination is on our minds. Is that meant to be covered under ethics in this?
The ethics, no, the ethics, if you look at the prompt, the ethics is taking the scenarios that the Ethics Committee has been working on many years and picking two in each of the three areas and responding to them. And how would you respond in that situation? So it doesn't have anything directly to do with the non-discrimination policy, et cetera, nothing directly to do with it.
Thank you.
Diana?
Yes, I'm aware our time is up.
If you want to ask if there are any concerns about adding
Correct.
5 minutes, you may.
Yeah.
There's time.
We have time, we can do that. Are there any concerns about adding 5 minutes or less to finish up our clarifying questions? Okay, seeing no concerns. Our next person is Ariel.
Thank you so much. Two clarifying questions. The first is there any process or procedure for communication between readers, applicants, and sponsors? That's my first question.
There is a process for the readers and the applicants, but there's nothing with readers and sponsors. They send their stuff to the sponsors.
Okay. And my other clarifying question is, I'm aware of the process by which sponsors become sponsors, but how do readers, who says whether they've submitted their own demonstration of knowledge? Like, who's in charge of saying who the readers are, please?
Well, right now, I guess we're being, well, no, I guess, yes. If someone wants to be a reader, then they will have submitted their demonstrations of knowledge to be read. So we will know that you, for example, submitted your demonstrations of knowledge because you will, right now, they go to the Professional Development Committee who says, thank you, here's a reader for you. And so we know that you've done them because of that. Does that make sense?
So it's the Professional Development Committee that's saying who's a reader, is that correct?
The Professional Development Committee is, by virtue of the fact that if you want to be a reader, you do the demonstrations of knowledge, you submit them to the PDC because we're the ones doing it right now. And we pair you with a reader. And that way we know that you have done the demonstrations of knowledge because you sent them to us.
Ah.
And then you say, oh, I want to be a reader. And we say, yay.
Okay.
So, Yeah, if I could just add a little bit more color. My name is Joseph Kaplan. I've been working on the proposal as well. I just want
Oh, great. Okay.
to, yeah, just follow up, right? Like, there's really no significant gatekeeping to becoming a reader, right? The only requirement to being a reader is that you've been through the process as a candidate, right? That you've had the experience that we're trying to offer to other candidates. So, the PDC is not deciding who gets to become a reader or not, right? We're just making sure that if you would like to become a reader, you've done the activity from the other perspective first.
Great. Thank you for that clarifying.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, great. All right, moving to Robin.
Yes, thank you. I may be imagining this, but earlier on in Catherine's presentation, I believe it was on a slide that a reader must be a certified teacher. But then later in the discussion, it's been said, oh, a trainee can be a reader. Could you please?
No, the trainee that was said, no, it can't be a trainee.
So it is written down somewhere. I did see that on a slide that to be a reader.
Yes, it says any number 2A, any teaching member with an ATI teaching certificate who has completed the demonstration of knowledge as described in number 1.
Is. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Robin.
It's right on the screen share.
Yeah.
It is.
But it was said out loud several times, and
that's good. Yeah.
Good to
thank you.
clarify.
Yeah.
All right. Are there any further clarifying questions? I don't see any hands up at the moment. So, seeing no concerns, any concerns to moving on to our next item, which is a screen break.
Yay!
You have 5 minutes for a screen break. Yes, take your time and enjoy yourselves away from screen. 2 and 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Harold, this is just a brief update. The formal consensus facilitator needs to ask for consensus or if there are concerns about adding time.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Welcome back from our break. We're now moving into a level 1 discussion on the proposal, where we look at ATI's values in light of the proposal. And I would enjoy having a volunteer go ahead and read through this, our vision mission statement. Do I have a volunteer? And if not, you'll hear my voice. Oh, who do we have here? Well, okay, Tanya, I think I saw your hand first. Would you like to read this? You'll need to unmute yourself. I don't see you.
ATI Vision Mission Statement. Our vision. Alexander Technique International is a worldwide professional organization created to promote and advance the work begun by F. Matthias Alexander. Its members include teachers, students, and friends of the Alexander Technique. ATI embraces the diversity of the international Alexander Technique community and is working to promote international dialogue. Our mission: 1. To create and sustain open means of global communication for people to discuss, apply, research, and experiment with the discoveries of F.M. Alexander. 2. to encourage the use of the FM Alexander technique in both human and environmental relationships. 3, to embody the principles of the FM Alexander technique in ATI's structure and means of operation. 4, to provide a means for recognizing Alexander technique teacher competence and providing certification for those teachers who qualify.
Great. Thank you so much. We have about 15 minutes for this area of discussion for level 1. It's a broad philosophical discussion about the proposal and how it fits or does not fit with our values as an organization. So here's the proposal. And raise your hands as you're ready. Debbie.
Hi. So I think it clearly fits our number 4 to provide a means for recognizing Alexander Technique teacher competence and providing certification to those teachers who qualify.
Great. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. Sarah Barker.
It fits number 3. And the careful structuring of this process that we're going to be asking new candidates to go through, it gives time and space so that the candidate can carefully observe themselves, and they are going to enter into a process that really makes it possible for them to inhibit reactive reactions to any kind of testing, but they can follow a means whereby they can be their best selves.
Nice, thank you. Mary Lou.
Yes, people can toggle at the top of the screen between the proposal and the public scribe screen. I wanted you to all know that. And I would like the APC chat person to enter the vision mission statement link into everyone chat, and then people can look at the vision mission statement at the same time. Thank you.
All right, Corinne.
Mary Lou sort of answered something, but I was wondering if we couldn't just put it up in one of the tabs of the screen share, just so we could toggle right on our screen between the vision mission right now, if that could be put up on a screen share on somebody else's, maybe Danny.
I'm screen sharing the proposal.
It's we don't, oh, I see the proposal. Okay.
You can toggle between the public scribe and the proposal, and then you can click the link in the chat to open the web page with the vision mission.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Corinne. Sarah, is that a new hand or an old one? Okay, thanks. All right. All right, I don't see any other hands for our level 1 discussion about our values and the proposal. Oh, we do have some hands. David Mills.
Yes, I would like to say that it's consistent with the very premise of ATI, that one becomes a teacher by having the opportunity to simply demonstrate that you have the knowledge and the skills to be a teacher. And it also is consistent with the collegial aspect of ATI in that it's a process for helping a candidate to, I think it's Sarah made it sort of something like this point, to help you to prepare for that demonstration in the strongest way that you can by helping each other do that.
Thank you. Mary Lou.
I would only add that it's because of the way it's designed, it's very inclusive and thoughtful in the way that people can respond. At first I went group, and then I thought, oh yeah, that means you can giggle and laugh and be present. And that really helps when we are sharing our knowledge. Thank you.
Okay. Corinne.
I feel this proposal supports number one of our mission, to create and sustain open means of global communication for people to discuss, apply, research, and experiment with the discoveries of FM Alexander. Because in my trainees, for instance, connected with readers in England and teachers they didn't know, and they learned from that experience. So I think this encourages communication within our membership in a broad way. So it definitely supports number one as well.
Great, thanks a lot. David, did you have something else to add? Your hand is still up. Okay, thanks. All right. Okay, seeing no more hands, we've saved some time, and we can move to a light and lively, our second light and lively. And I can't remember who's doing that one, but I should know.
This is the shorter one.
Yeah.
So Tanya could.
I think it's
Was it
me.
Teresa?
It's
Teresa, there's a
Teresa.
full one in the second half. We added a shorter one in between.
Say that again, Danny. What?
We added a shorter light and lively in between. It's an additional one that's only 2 minutes.
Okay, am I up or not?
You will be up for part 2 of the business meeting. So not yet, Teresa.
Danny, who is the volunteer?
Oh, I
that
thought I
came
came
today?
after Robin. Okay.
Tanya, sorry.
Danny, who came
Tanya.
after? Who?
It's me.
It's Tanya.
Okay. So
Okay.
I would invite you to stand up, and I have to say that I get my right and left confused. So you pick whichever side you want, but this is one of my favorite go-tos. And it's you put your right leg in, you take your right leg out, you put your right leg in, and you shake it all about. You do the hoppy hoppy, and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. You put your left leg in, you take your left leg out, you put your left leg in, and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. You put your right arm in, you take your right arm out, you put your right arm in and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. You put your left arm in, you take your left arm out, you put your left arm in and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. You put your whole self in, you take your whole self out, you put your whole self in and you shake yourself around. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. Oh, that was really refreshing. Okay. So, we are gathering concerns. We're at level 2 discussion. We have completed our level 1 discussion. We're moving into level 2, which is gathering concerns. And we have 15 minutes for this portion. So for the timekeeper, our scribes are ready, I think. Okay, we have a concern from Catherine.
I am concerned that we do not have any process for submitting a group demonstration of knowledge to the 3 ATI sponsors. And I don't mean electronically. I mean, who's on the picture.
Thank you. All right. Tanya?
I have a concern of, I'm not sure if I'm understanding the process completely, but I have a concern about the group. I understand that we're trying to be inclusive, but something about presenting as a group makes me concerned because it's not clear to me how a reader can see individually. Sometimes people can take over a conversation, or if you do it in order, somebody will answer first, and then the later people will have the answer from the first people. I'm not sure. I'm just concerned. I don't have a specific way to explain it.
Okay. Thank you, Tanya. Ariel?
Thanks. I have a concern that it could be confusing for people submitting their demonstration of knowledge if the readers give very different feedback than the sponsors.
Okay. Thank you. Sakiko?
I have a concern about um, non
What happened?
I don't know. I think I think she's frozen for the moment.
Ah.
A connectivity problem. I wonder if she could put it in the chat or if that's an option.
I don't know that she can hear you. What I suggest is that we move on to the next person and then go back to Sakiko.
Okay.
Oh, she's in the waiting room.
Oh, she got jumped out. Sakiko, are you back with us? I don't see another hand yet, so we're still working with that. All right. Okay, Irene.
My concern is that it is not really clear where the responsibility of the reader ends and where the responsibility of the ATI sponsor begins.
Thank you. That's very clear.
Kelsey, can you help Sakiko in any way? It's just a suggestion if possible.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
I'm back. I'm
Who's
back. Can you hear me?
Oh, Sakiko, is that you?
Yes.
Okay, please go ahead.
I don't know why it happened, but okay, I have concern about people who are not English speaker, how to communicate. Candidate provide translator or ATI provide translator, or and in terms of accuracy and quality, how can we solve that?
Great, thank you so much. All right, Diane Sales.
I'm sorry, I'm scribing. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
Does PDC provide? You know what? Just come back to me because I have to finish this scribing.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm back.
Okay.
So, gosh, what was my concern? Huh. Uh, oh, I guess this is a concern is that someone mentioned, oh, maybe we should charge for readers. And I do have a concern about creeping fees, so I would ask that that be considered. That's all.
Okay. Concern about this. Thank you.
Diana,
Yes.
I wonder if SACCO's concern might have an element of clarifying question.
Okay. The scribes can take note of that. And if you have anything to say about that, Catherine, if that's something the committee has thought of.
Yes. Am I? Oh, bother.
Translating?
Yes. I,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
David, help.
Tommy, you're unmuted or yeah.
I'm unmuted. Okay, yes, we have thought about that. And what we need is a wide variety of readers in every ATI language, which we have not done yet because we don't know if we're going to actually keep doing this until we consent to this proposal or not. And in the meantime, translators are a good idea. And ATI should pay for them. That's my opinion.
Thank you.
I don't know how to get my picture.
Oh, Debbie.
So this concern is not stated specifically in the proposal, but the description of the readers has included this word accuracy. And I'm concerned that that word implies that the readers have more of a say in the candidate's process. And I believe that accuracy is something that would be reserved for the sponsors. So my concern is that that word accuracy not be there with the proposal. I don't know if that's clear enough.
No, that's very clear. Thank you. Joe Crinky.
Hi, Diana.
Hi.
So I'm currently I just need to add just a brief bit of context. I'm currently the chair of the certification coordinating committee, and as part of the annual ATI sponsor meetings in 2023 and 2024, we discussed with all of the sponsors in one of the 4 or 5 meetings that we hosted the demonstration of knowledge pilot project. And there was general enthusiasm about the demonstration of knowledge from many of the sponsors who've been involved with the project and the pilot project, and some good discussion to clarify questions and resolve concerns about the demonstration of knowledge in those meetings. And the CCC has been meeting with the PDC to help move this forward, this proposal forward in terms of sponsor points of view. And as part of that, I sent out a number of reminder emails about this meeting and a form for any sponsors who weren't able to attend. And I said that I would advocate for their points of view or put their points of view forward on a couple of issues. So I've got a couple of things that haven't been said yet that I feel like I could say at this time if that seems good to everybody. Is this the right time for that?
I think it fits in. We have plenty of time.
Okay, great. So this is from Delia. Delia says, I'm concerned that anyone can become a reader if they have completed a demonstration of knowledge. Having assessed a few candidates regarding anatomy and found that answers were mainly vague and unsatisfactory, I have general doubts about members' abilities to assess a candidate regarding anatomy if they have not rigorously learned anatomy, and in particular its relevance and benefit to teaching Alexander technique. It is not sufficient to be able to quote muscle origins and insertions, etc. What is vital, in my opinion, is how our anatomy lives within us and how this living anatomy is affected by the work we do and with our thoughts and hands. Many people have not made this link, and therefore I do not believe will be able to help assess candidates in their anatomical know-how.
Joe, I want to clarify something about that. And I think if we can get that whole writing to the scribes.
I'll paste it.
And certainly as we work on it. She said that just having done the demonstration of knowledge is not enough for a reader, but under A, they're already a teaching member and have a certificate. Is that in her concern that it's not enough to be a teacher and gone through the process?
It is not in her concern, and of course, this is one of the weaknesses of the proposal that I made here about having people submit points of view without being in the meeting. But it's, we're giving it a go.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, and is there more?
There's one more from Nancy Forrest Williamson. Hypothetically, and this I almost brought this up during clarifying questions, but again, without her being here, I'm not exactly sure. But just to get it on the record, she says,
Excuse me, Joe. Can
yes.
I just interrupt as a language advocate?
Yes.
When you are reading, could you please slow a little bit down? Thank you.
I absolutely can do that. Thank you. I'll paste this here too. So Nancy says, hypothetically, does this leave a place for someone who is brilliantly embodied in their presence and skills as a teacher, but simply can't get the demonstration of knowledge part done? Neurodivergent shows up in many ways. I see many thoughtful options and accommodations in this well-written proposal and support it as a whole, but it's always interesting to ask one more time, who are we leaving out? And how can we support a rich diversity in our teaching community?
Okay.
Those are the only two concerns that were submitted by sponsors who are not able to be here.
All right. Thank you so much. That's
You're welcome.
good. Yeah. And if you'll also paste that in the chat, that would be great. Nancy's as well. All right. We have about a minute and a half. Ariel.
Thanks so much. My concern dovetails on Debbie Adams' concern that if there's not a kind of template for what constitutes accuracy and completeness that's shared between readers, that this could again add to the confusion for the people submitting their demonstrations of knowledge.
Okay, thank you. Joseph.
Yeah, my concern is it was mentioned that who carries the costs? So it doesn't say if the applicant pays this or if who pays the reader and things like that.
Okay, concern about cost. Thank you. And just as a reminder, that did come up earlier. So once a concern has been raised, it belongs to the whole group. We embrace it. It's there. All right. Tommy. Unmute, please.
Okay. Yeah. Hi. Yeah, I just learned how to wave. Google.
Oh, you're good.
Is this is it okay to ask a clarifying concern?
I think if it's there for you, yes, let's go for it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it's Delia's response. It's an interesting response. I guess my question is, I thought somewhere there is a criteria that limits the amount of anatomy that a person should be aware of is that there's specific areas of anatomy that ATI, that I think Bob came up with it. I don't know who came up with it, but Bob Leda and someone else. Because many of the training programs don't have that much anatomy.
Mhm.
And then some do have a great deal of anatomy. It depends on
Right.
the
I'm going to remind you that we have already consented to the content of the 3 demonstrations of knowledge over multiple AGMs. And I hear your concern. And yet the content has already been established.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. We are minus 1 minute and 16 seconds for this segment.
Diana, we
Yes?
have a bit of extra time. We need to stop by 3 minutes till the hour.
Oh, okay.
So find
are-
out if that's okay with everybody.
Are there any concerns about extending our time for a gathering of concerns? All right, let's carry on. Timekeeper, I hope you'll appreciate that. Okay, five more minutes. Irena.
I guess there are 2. So one is I have a concern that by establishing the order of knowledge first and then demonstration of teaching skills, AT teachers who are not already affiliated with ATI in some form will be discouraged from becoming ATI members.
Okay, that's clear.
So the demonstration of knowledge as an entrance to get to know the spirit of ATI is a big value.
Okay, and is there a second one?
I think this is more about the bigger picture, which we want to look at in a couple of years, that this is, again, one more step for people to accomplish who are not qualified as affiliated teachers, as recognized to come through to ATI through the recognition.
Okay.
But they have to do the certification, and by now we have the certification process as going to your sponsors, and the sponsors ask you questions. And now this would mean they first have to do not administrative work, but doing something, writing, giving to the readers, to ATI, and then coming to the sponsors. So that is a new step to the process.
Okay, thank you. So, Danny's next.
This is more of a there was a couple questions that came up about the word accurate or accuracy. I've lost it now. And I remember asking Catherine about this a few months ago. So I wonder if part of these concerns are a clarifying question that Catherine can answer, like what does that word mean here? Just a suggestion. I might be wrong. What does accuracy mean, or accurate?
If that is a clarifying question, do you want to talk to that, Catherine? We have time.
Yes, I do. So there are guidelines for readers. We talk about accuracy there. And again, accuracy is simply the facts of what the questions are asking. Are Alexander's birth and death dates correct? What about his brother? Did they list all 4 books, and are the dates correct? Those are the kind of accuracy things we're talking about. We are not talking about, did they describe primary control accurately? Because their understanding of primary control is what's important. The readers do not judge anything. They do not evaluate anything. They just simply check to make sure the fact things are accurate, and that's all we do. And that includes things like if someone calls Alexander the breathing doctor, when he was the breathing man. And we do this by saying, are you sure he was called the breathing doc? In other words, we don't tell people, oh, no, it's this. We just say, are you sure that's what it is? So we ask the readers to clarify things that aren't accurate sometimes. Well, all the time. Anyway, sorry. Yes.
Okay, I think that might be. Sakiko.
Okay, I hope I can say this. I have been having this concern since this proposal came up, and tonight I have much less. And being Japan, I always felt we have an educational social habitual pattern, which is just getting information and accurately put out that. And in the educational process, I believe that Alexander technique lead from that. And this way of evaluating people may encourage people the same habitual educational learning process. So that's my personal concern, and I have much less now, but I just wanted to share that.
All right, we are out of time. And what's fortunate about our process is that we get to group the concerns. We can have a whole week in between to begin to resolve them as they are grouped. So,
Diana, may I interrupt?
please.
We're going to take more concerns after the break.
That's right. We have added more time for that. Thank you. So you can think during the break. Right now, let's move to Agenda Planning Committee pre-break announcements for 3 minutes.
Pre-break announcement.
Catherine, this is Jennifer McCarris.
Yes. Hello. Now we have a 30-minute break. Please stay logged into the Zoom meeting. If you'd like a screen break, turn off your audio and video. If you'd like to chat, you can join a breakout room by clicking on the breakout rooms icon in your bottom Zoom toolbar. If you don't see this icon, click on the 3 dots or click More to find it. Then select the room of your choice, such as a meeting room for AGM business or small talk rooms to chat in smaller groups. Or you can chat in the main room. When you leave the breakout room, don't leave the meeting. How to watch meeting recording? Go to AGM Basecamp, Docs and Files, Meeting Recordings. It will be uploaded as soon as possible.
Okay. I'm leaving as our facilitator, and enjoy your break.
Wait, I have a question, or I have an offer. If anyone wants to meet in the PDC breakout room to talk about concerns, not resolve them, but just get more clarity, I'll be there.
Fantastic.
Which one is that? Which one is that?
It's called PDC.
Oh, I got it. I see it. Okay.
In the breakout room list.
Yeah, I got it.
Clever us. Let's see, where are we? Lower hand. There we go.
Thank you. It's been quite a productive meeting. I'll see you next weekend.
You can pause the recording. I'm your facilitator. I'm Mary Lou Chasey. I'm your facilitator for this second portion. And then Gabby will join us at the very end. This is my first time facilitating online. And in honor of that and our recent election, I'm wearing pearls because pearls are calming. And I thought it would be useful to me to be calm while I'm online with you all. and I see people are still coming back, so I'm stalling just a bit. We are going to resume level 2. And level 2 is each of us sharing our concerns with the whole group. And once we share our concerns, it belongs to the group, which means if I have a similar concern, you've helped me out. I now do not need to express that because it's already there. So once we've heard a concern, it's a part of the group and we've got it. So what we need at this point in time is to have the proposal. There it is. Thank you. And we'd also like to have the public scribe available. And I want to remind you that you can toggle between, at the very top of your screen, you can toggle between the proposal and the public scribe, who now says she's tech support, but she's also the public scribe. Does everybody have that? Is there anyone not understanding that? Okay. So, do you have a concern about the proposal? And I see that Irene has raised her hand. Irene, what is your concern?
I have a question.
A clarifying question?
No, a procedural question.
Okay.
If there is a possibility to go back to what is written, to look at one of my concerns, and I think also on Sakiko's concern, if it is written down in the right way or in the right sense.
Okay,
if it makes
Diane,
sense.
you can erase what you've just typed, Diane. We don't need this in this. This isn't a concern. Thank you. What Irene is asking is if we can look at what the public scribes have written so far. And in particular, she was wondering if both Sakiko and Irene, of course, are speaking in English, their second or third or fourth language. And they want to see if they expressed it in a way that the public scribe understood. Have I got that right, Irene?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
The other thing I can suggest to all of you is that there is a link in the chat, everybody in the public chat, to the public scribe document. So if any time during the meeting or after the meeting, you want to check that out, you can, and you can make comments on that screen. You can't edit it, but you can comment. And that would be particularly true if you said, oh, doesn't really capture what I said. So you could clarify it a little further. And we would appreciate that.
But this link is not there already, is it, Marilu?
Yes, it's there
Oh, I
now.
see it. Okay, I found it. Thank you.
We're just reviewing the concerns. Do I need to read them out loud? Sakiko, would you like me to read them out loud?
Corinna speaking. I think yes, and I had a question. Have the concerns been grouped yet?
No, we have not grouped the concerns because we don't have them all yet.
Okay.
I'm going to read out loud. Concerned that we do not have a process for submitting a group demonstration of knowledge to sponsors. Second concern, concerned that the group submittal I understand we are trying to be inclusive, but not clear how a reader can really evaluate individuals. Third, it could be confusing for people submitting demonstrations of knowledge that readers could give very different feedback than sponsors. Concern about people who are not English speakers, how can they communicate? Does PDC provide translators? PDC says, yes, we've thought of that. We need a wide variety of readers in every language. So it is something that PDC is thinking about. Next concern, that it is not really clear where responsibility of reader ends and that of ATI sponsor begins. Concern, question of whether or not we should charge for readers. And they are inclined to say no because of creeping fees. There is no charge at this time. Description of readers includes word accuracy. This may imply that readers have more to say in the process and that, that this should belong to the sponsors.
Mary Lou,
Next,
this is gonna take a long time. I think they just wanted the ones we read about accuracy. Is that right?
Corinne said I should read them all.
No, we were looking to to clarify. My hand was raised at the end of the previous part of the meeting because I had a clarifying question on Irene's concern about who she was speaking to, about the concern about people who are not in affiliated, who do not fall under the recognition process in ATI to come in as recognized members, but have to go through the certifying process. Do they have to submit a demonstration of knowledge? Or the concern was that if they have to submit a demonstration of knowledge, that would be discouraging. And I wanted to know if she was talking about trainees or if she was talking about people who are already recognized in teachers in another organization, but that is not one that ATI recognizes. Do they have to do the demonstration of knowledge? Or that wasn't her question, is wouldn't it be discouraging if they have to? So I can't find that concern.
So you have a
It's showing on, sorry, it's showing on the public scribe doc.
Okay, I can't scroll through it. Is it showing now? Okay, by establishing
Kelsey
them.
scrolled to.
So I'll read this one.
So Corinne,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take the concerns in order. All right. And we'll get to you. I'm not sure where you are on the list.
Well, I had my hand raised at the end of.
That's right. Okay. So Corinne, you've asked your clarifying question of Irene. Thank you. Irene, can you clarify for her?
I just wanted to read it. I think
it's okay.
We done good. We were good. So I'm gonna read it. This concern is okay, and that I think there was another concern of mine which was not clear, and I will read it. And then I personally had the question about Sakiko's second concern.
Okay, raise your hand and I'll call on you.
Okay.
Does that answer your clarifying question, Corinne?
It says, if you scroll down again, no, the other way. No, where is that pink? I can't find it. That pink, whatever is highlighted. Yeah. No, okay, that's not the one. But yes, I saw it very briefly that in Irani's by establishing demonstration of knowledge first and then demonstration of teaching skills, AT teachers not already affiliated with ATI will be discouraged from becoming ATI members. So Irani is indeed talking about AT teachers, people who are already teachers. And so, yes, I share that concern. So it's all fine. I just wanted to clarify that it wasn't talking about trainees.
Okay, thank you, Corinne.
Okay, thank you.
Jim?
Yeah, I had asked a clarifying question about whether or not the statement of belonging, access, and non-discrimination was included in the expectation of demonstration of knowledge. And I thought what I heard was no. And I'm expressing a concern that this is something that should be included, since once one becomes an ATI certified teacher, it's part of our policy.
Thank you, Jim. If the public scribe would take to the bottom where they're typing. Thank you.
Yeah, so we can see that it's.
Yeah, thank you. Renee.
This was just a typo, but early on there was something that said the PDC and the CEC was discussing something. In fact, it's the CCC. Was that what you were going to say, Joe?
This is a concern about the
It's
public scribe document.
The scribe, yes.
Okay, thank you. We don't need that in the concerns. It can be corrected by easily.
Thank you.
Thanks, Renee, for pointing that out. Joe.
I will say, these are concerns of just a question. These are concerns about the proposal. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Well, then, is it possible to make observations about some of the concerns at this point, or is that at a different time?
That's at a different time. Thank you.
Okay, great. I'll save.
Thank you for saving. Sakiko, you have a concern?
Yes, thank you for pointing out my concern, the second concern. And I think I read somewhere, I didn't say Japanese people not habitual pattern is not being accurate or something.
Sakiko?
Yes.
Can you go and comment on the public scribe document to correct?
Yes, okay. I will do that.
Thank you. Great. I would appreciate that a lot. Tommy.
You need to unmute.
This is in response to Jim's concern. Just to clarify it for you, Jim, is that the non-discrimination clause was accepted by ATI in 1995, so it should be part of it.
So this is not a concern. This is a.
I'm just clarifying for Jim.
Clarifying.
Yeah,
thank you.
That's all.
Thank you. Thank you, Tommy. Okay, so we've had a variety of things, and I'm going to remind everybody that if you have a clarifying question, you can ask it at any time. It helps the facilitator if you introduce it as a clarifying question. And so it helps me. So if you say, I have a clarifying question, then the public scribe and I know what you're talking about. While I'm doing this, I'm asking you all to formulate any further concerns you may have. We are still able to take more concerns. We have time for it if you have them. Maria.
Maria, you're muted.
I don't know exactly where it belongs, but I ask it because it's a concern I have. When I read through all the concerns, I have a feeling some of the concerns are regarding the policy and some are procedural questions for the procedures, how you work with the policy when it's adopted, so that we make a differentiation between in this way, what concern is regarding the policy and what's coming out of the policy later with the procedures.
So just to be clear, when we group the concerns, some of them are about procedures. Thank you for pointing this out. And some are about the actual proposal. And if you want to look at the actual proposal, toggle to it at the top. It's a very brief, it's a one slide view. And that will be one of the things that we do when we group them. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
Debbie?
Yeah, I have a concern with the language around number 2 of the proposal, because I want to make sure that it's clear that the reviewer has to fulfill A, B, and C.
Thank you. I'm giving you all a moment. Are there any further concerns? Are there any concerns about me closing level 2? What I'd like to do is to take the next 3 minutes for us to group the concerns we have. So can we go to the top of the concerns? Is there a question?
Well, it's not a question. I can't find the raise hand thing. It's not a question so much as I think that there's no way we'll be able to go through and do this on just what we can see bit by bit on a screen. And that it really will take a couple of people to have them all printed out and go, that goes here, that goes there, that goes, that's that. And if you want to do it, go ahead. I'm sorry. It's just a concern that it won't work.
I understand, because I was concerned about that too as well, Catherine. One of the things I'd like to offer is that after this meeting, we can have a room, a PDC room, where you go through these concerns and group them. We already know that we have one group that is procedural.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there's one group that is about particular words and their definition. And then I think there's a group about doing this in a group and the means whereby of doing this in a group. So those are the 3, thank you. Those are the 3 groups that I see when I reviewed this briefly during our break. There may be more groups. What I also want to share with all of you is that during this week, between now and next weekend, there will be small groups that will get together and work on solutions. So these are small groups who are developing solutions, and they will organize themselves after this meeting in the main meeting room. When I say organize themselves, I mean decide when they're going to meet and work on problems and divide themselves into groups. Our time is up. I would like to extend our time 1 minute because I saw Corinne's hand.
No, you just expressed what I wanted to express is how do we work together between now and next week? How do we organize ourselves? And
Thank
where,
you.
where can we find this PDC concern list or groupings? I guess it's on Basecamp somewhere.
Okay, the public scribe document link is in the the everyone chat. It is also on the website. There's a link for it in the message thread about our meeting. And the breakout room is called PDC for after this meeting. You can also email Catherine if you want to be a part of this process of finding solutions. Catherine has her hand up.
Yes, I have a question. You said two things. You said we would get together and figure out when we can meet, and that we would get together in group concerns. So are we doing all of this in the PDC room, one after the other? Is that what you mean?
That's too much in one room, isn't it? Maybe you just need to figure out when you're going to meet.
Well, there were lots of people in the PDC room during the 30-minute break. We came up with a great discussion. I invited them to email me to organize ourselves in a group in between meetings. So maybe I can say, yeah, put my email in the chat. Maybe I can say that anyone who wants to be part of that discussion, please email me. And I don't know how we'll all do that. Maybe we'll need 2 meetings.
Well, you can also meet by groups.
Yes.
Can this be arranged after the meeting in the PDC
Yes,
room?
we're going
We're out of
to
time.
do this afterwards. Thank you, Danny. I was about to move on. So we can take the concerns down and we can move on to announcements. Gabby, you have an announcement?
I do. I just would like to remind you all to check in the board video on Basecamp. And it's the report from all the board members. And let us know if you have any questions. That's it. Thank you.
Gabby,
Yes.
is there a link? Is there a link that you can put in everyone chat to that board report?
I think I'm going to ask Maria to do it. Because
Okay, thank you.
It's
Thank
open,
you.
and I see Maria, and thanks, Maria.
Thank you.
I will do it in a minute.
Great, great. And Tommy, you had an announcement you wanted to share with us?
You have to unmute, Tommy. Tommy, you have to unmute yourself.
Okay.
Danny, I see your hand.
David Gorman, I just wanted to report, he has severe Parkinson's, and he's been admitted now to a lifelong facility with Parkinson's. I just wanted to let you all know that. And then I had an update on the report I was going to give on Rosa Luisa. Rosa Luisa is doing quite well. She just wrote me this morning, and she's back home again. She broke her tibia on the outside and the inside by having a tram stop suddenly, and two people fell on top of her and broke her tibia. But she's doing quite well, and she's happy to be home. They were my announcements.
Thank you, Tommy.
Yeah.
And Danny, you had your hand up. Did you have an announcement?
Just the part underneath the announcement title. For the rest of the meeting, we suggest choosing multi-speaker view, which Corinne so beautifully suggested yesterday. You click view on the upper right of your Zoom and click multi-speaker, then it works great for the presentations. Thank you.
And Debbie.
I just have a quick question for Tommy. Is there an address or some way that we can write to David?
Let me find all of that. I don't know exactly because I was unable to visit him because of health things. And I will be working out a time to go visit him in Toronto soon. And I'll call his wife tonight and then find out what the address is. And I'll give it to you on the next meeting.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Tommy.
Yeah.
So next slide, please. Teresa. We have a light and lively.
Hello. I think Teresa was called away.
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're
I'm
there?
here,
That
Renee.
is you. Good.
It is. It is. Yeah. Sorry. Thank you for being on standby, Renee. You know, meeting from our homes, it presents always the possibility of something happening in your home that you may have to attend to. All righty. Please, if you are willing and able to stand up, stay within the sound of my voice. Let me know if you can't hear me. Beautiful. We all need to exhale for so many reasons. So we're going to start with, actually, I'm going to take this off. We're going to start with exhaling and tossing a breath in the air. So, and allowing your arms to just turn over so that your palms are now guided toward the floor at a 45-degree angle, gently, gently floating down. I forgot to say that you're inhaling after you exhale, but maybe your body just understood that. We're going to toss breath again into the air and inhale, filling your back, wide back. Beautiful, easy, take your time. And one more breath toss. Filling your back with a nice deep breath, letting your arms come down. Gently, gently floating to beside you, filling the whole of your back, right? I'm just going to invite you to allow your eyes to travel around the room. And if you would like, you can allow your head and body to follow your eyes. Let your eyes discover an object you have not yet seen or focused on today. Could be any object in your space. Now let your eyes gently move away from that discover another object, preferably not your screen, and let your eyes discover another object in your space. Continue to let your eyes travel gently, softly around the room. And let your eyes discover a third object. Your choice, return to one of the three objects. Take in the object. See if you can not name it and just, okay, can I just have 1 second to finish up? The space, just take in the space around the object and the space around that. And continue to take in the space around you and the room as you bring your attention gently back to the screen.
Thank you so much, Teresa. I can hear it in my voice. Ethics Advisory Committee. The presenters are Irene Schlump and Corinne Cassini. They are both they're co-chairs of EAC, Ethics Advisory Committee. Thank you. And this is a good time to use multiple speakers. We have 15 minutes for this. Thanks.
Hi, welcome everyone. So actually I'll be the one mainly presenting this, but I am speaking on behalf of 4 of the 5 current members of the EAC. And present here today with us are both current and outgoing members, as well as members elect to the EAC. So last year, during the 2023 conference in Boone, the EAC invited the members to reflect on the heart of the Code of Ethics. This was the beginning of a process of looking into what the Code of Ethics means to all of us individually and as an organization. Asking ourselves if anything is missing or if new language is needed. This year, we want to draw your attention, our attention, to the evolution of our statement on belonging, access, and non-discrimination. The EAC invites all ATI members into the conversation about what this statement means to each one of us in our different contexts and given our different backgrounds. Many. We need to include diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility, and belonging, awareness in our organization on a daily basis, in our means of communication, governance, and interaction, to name but a few. In the US, we tend to abbreviate diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility, and belonging as DEIAB. Different languages have different acronyms for this. So we find it very important, and therefore we wish to educate ourselves in areas such as conflict resolution. And more specifically, we want to know if ethics and DEIAB questions and topics are fundamentally different or not, and in which ways they might be similar and in which ways they might differ or have different implications. And finally, what are these implications for ATI in all of this? So the EAC is starting this, but we're really calling in our whole organization to partake in these questions. I'm going to give you first some context. ATI is non-discriminatory since its 1995 policy. This would ring a bell to our elders, our members, our founding members. The current statement on the website certainly reflects this 1995 policy, whether deliberately or accidentally. It warms my and our hearts at the EAC that ATI voted, in quote marks, because they went through formal consensus in order to vote unanimously on this policy in 1995, after using the process that we are engaged in today. The preamble of our Code of Ethics includes language that reflects both this policy and our current statement. The statement on the website has undergone various revisions over the years since it was crafted and put up on the website sometime before 2019. Changes and additions were made in 2020 and 2021, especially from Just Inclusion and the EAC together. And for those who don't know, Just Inclusion is a working group within our organization that talks specifically and reflects specifically about these questions of DEIAB. So Just Inclusion and EAC the board approved this statement both in 2020 and 2021. And in 2024, just this past year, another language change was made by the EAC, which the board adopted the statement as interim policy in June with the new wording that the EAC established. So now there's going to be a screen share with our 1995 ATI is non-discriminatory policy that has been in place since 1995. Next to it in green is the statement on belonging, access, and non-discrimination adopted by the board on June 18th as an interim policy. This will come to the membership using formal consensus process in 2025 as a policy proposal. So I invite you right now to take a few minutes to read both of these in silence. And when you are ready, I would like you to reflect and feel inside yourself what comes up, sensing your breathing, sensing how this lands in our bodies. Taking a moment to notice shifts in yourself. And when you're ready, if you could please share a word or two about this by chatting to either the language advocate, Irene Schlump, or Eloisa Gravina, the doorkeeper. Both are members of the EAC. Danny from PDC suggests that I should read some aloud for captions. Yeah, I can do that. Maybe especially the statement or the interim policy. I'll just I'll just say a few more words here before I read. Just reminding us to sense inside our bodies, sensing our breathing, noticing how the words land in our bodies, to notice shifts in ourselves, and that at any time you can chat in the words. You might also consider what kind of supportive environment you would like and how that might be created within ATI. What kinds of training and conflict resolution processes, for instance, might we need to meet conflict within our organization as it grows and expands? Is this something that speaks to you? Do you feel strongly about this? So I'll read the statement of belonging, access, and non-discrimination that was adopted by the board. So that's the green on the right. We care about belonging, access, and non-discrimination. We support the fundamental rights and dignity of all people. We respect each person's unique perspective, inclusive of age, color, disability, gender, gender expression, gender identity, genetic information, national origin, ethnicity, race, creed, religion, marital status, sex, sexual orientation, economic class, political affiliation, and veteran status. ATI is committed to providing a safe, welcoming, inclusive environment for teachers, trainees, students, and members of the public attending our events. Bullying and harassment have negative effects on our whole community. There is no place within ATI for bullying, racism, or discrimination. The Alexander Technique teaches all people how to better understand the functioning of the whole person. ATI is a non-discriminatory organization that is always evolving. Please reach out to us if you have any questions or suggestions. ATI acknowledges the racism and racist language of FM Alexander's books, and we denounce this language and the racist belief it perpetuates. While the past cannot be changed, we can inhibit the present with openness, humility, and conscious awareness. So if you haven't already, I invite you to, is it possible for everybody to write into the doorkeeper or the language advocate chat place? So find Irene Schlump or, thank you, I know, or Eloisa Gravina, and you can do that by searching in the participants and typing in their name.
Danny, would you close the screen share, please?
Yeah,
so
and I
see each other. Thank you. We have 40 seconds.
I know.
So say what you want to say.
So we have an opportunity to fulfill ATI's commitment to fostering a safe and inclusive environment for all members of our community and as a collective. The EAC will be working on this in the coming year and needs help from members of diverse backgrounds, gender, races, identity, etc., cultures to be part of this. We not only want, we need you to join this process of working towards our common good, improving how we communicate and establish diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility, and belonging culture within our organization and its governance. Please express your interest to offer comments or to join the discussion that the EAC will be coordinating quarterly of 90-minute meeting length beginning in January by requesting to speak or again telling Irene or Eloisa in the chat and giving your interest. And Irene, could you post in the public chat the ethics email? So just to be clear, ethics will be coordinating this, the EAC, but it is very important that it's a working group. It's going to be a working group. And we want members from Just Inclusion. We want members from the community at large. And it's not going to be contained in the ethics committee. So please come to us if there's any questions at a break, to myself, Corinne, Eloisa, or Irene, and we will help.
Jim and
Jim.
Marilyn.
There's Jim. He's an outgoing member of the ethics advisory.
Corinne, let
Yep.
me find out from the group. Are there any concerns about extending this discussion for, we've already extended for a minute or, well, a minute and a half. May we extend it for a couple more minutes? It will cause the meeting to run late. Are there any concerns about that? Take a couple more minutes, Corinne. Thank you.
Okay.
Maybe if I can chime in, Corinne, just
please.
For because we didn't want to make a discussion, but really invite you and because it's always easier when people meet. We thought it would be beautiful if you could gather some email addresses and so that everybody who is interested is coming to that. So please, we are looking for what do you need? And this working group also means it's a little bit a reflecting group, right? It is not only about we are doing business, but we want to learn about ourselves within this process. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Irene. And I think as we saw just now with the concern from Jim coming up about the PDC proposal and how that it's very important that as we look forward into integrating more of this into our means of functioning, that are and also it's these values are something that really are central to our younger generation of teachers coming in. If we want to also welcome more diversity besides the diversity of cultural backgrounds in the sort of Western world that we tend to be a majority of in our organization, but we want to welcome more people from all racial backgrounds, and then these questions really need to be part of all of the aspects of our organization, including this proposal that we're discussing. Thank you for listening. Please reach out to us, and if you're interested in these issues and you want to join the Ethics Advisory Committee, there is still a chance to do that. And you could speak to Diane Sales about being elected as a member of the EAC.
Thank you for that, both the presentation and also that lovely sequence to our next slide, which is and I do appreciate your presentation to Irene and Corinne, but that was a nice segue. So now we have Diane Sales, who is here to speak briefly about the open positions and encouragement to vote. Diane has 3 minutes. Thank you.
Hi, thanks, Mary Lou. First of all, because yesterday I spoke this but didn't really put it, here's my address and my email and phone. I'm in the US on the East Coast. But please feel free to reach out to me. I haven't heard from anyone yet since yesterday. So next slide. Here are the still unfilled positions. There's a board director position. We're still looking for a chair or co-chair for our membership committee. And I'm looking for a co-chair for the nominations committee. So, we're a volunteer organization and we really need people to step up. So please contact me. I hope to be deluged or at least hear from someone. And if you have any concerns, there's lots of help. So don't be concerned. Next slide. I want to also just clarify again, the initial ballot was sent out on November 1st, and the subject line reads ATI Board and Committee Chair Elections. Voting is now open. So if you don't know where your ballot is, please look there and look in your junk mail just in case it went there. If you can't still find it, contact either Kelsey at ATI office or me, and we'll get it to you. A supplemental ballot will be sent on Tuesday, the 12th, and it will list members who have volunteered to fill recently open positions. And again, we're still looking for volunteers for the 3 positions I mentioned before. I don't have anyone for those. You must vote both ballots. So the original ballot and the ballot you will receive on Tuesday. So please make sure you do both. And if you have already voted, thank you, on the original ballot, you still need to open and vote on the supplemental ballot. So when you get that on Tuesday, don't delay, do it right away. Is there one more slide? Okay. Voting will close November 16th at 5 p.m. U.S. Eastern Standard Time. I tried to do a chart, but please make that adjustment for yourself. I think 20 seconds more. Is that okay, Mary Lou? Okay. Don't delay. Please vote now. And don't forget to open and vote on the supplemental ballot you'll get on Tuesday. And that's it from your nominations committee.
Thank you, Diane. And Diane, would you put your email in the chat again for people? Thanks. Agenda, thank you. Next slide. There it is. Danny, would you read our this next slide? I want to point out that we read all the slides so that we can put them into captions for the people who are reading in Japanese or Korean or French or there are many languages available to people. Thank you for reading them, Danny. And we have 5 minutes for this.
Yes. So if you have any more announcements, you can still sign up for a 1 minute or less announcement in the AGM Basecamp messages thread about announcements, or you can tell us after the meeting in the main room or the debrief room. The link to the public scribe document was posted earlier in the chat. You can find the meeting recording already from yesterday in the AGM 2024 Basecamp Docs and Files section, Meeting Recordings folder. It's uploaded. It'll be uploaded before you wake up tomorrow. There is a meeting directly after this meeting for APC, the Agenda Planning Committee, Formal Consensus Process Committee, facilitators, and anyone else with concerns about the agenda or anything about the meeting. Meet in the debrief room. Although I'm not sure today, some of those people might first be in the PDC room. I think we meet, anyways, I think the official debrief meeting starts 15 minutes after the end of the meeting. And as we discussed earlier, PDC will be forming groups to work on the concerns. So if you're interested in that, please meet up in the PDC breakout room after the meeting.
Thank you, Danny. I hope everyone has all of those instructions clear in their mind. And now I have the pleasure of introducing Gabby. She's your coach, your board co-chair, and she is our newest facilitator. So thank you to Gabby for doing this.
Thanks, Mary Lou. I'm just learning. I just want to start with Diane's new rhyme. Don't delay, vote today. So please vote so that we have a big representation. Now I'm moving to the evaluation. In preparation for this, I looked at the text that we are using, Butler's book, about formal consensus process, and there's so many pieces to evaluation. I'll just highlight a couple. And we do these evaluations to improve the process that we are learning through as we do it. And so any evaluation that you have that will give us insights to the process will be helpful. We want to examine how our attitudes come through and how we encourage a variety of opinions. And we want to foster greater understanding of our group and encourage multiple voices, learning through the process and from one another. We really want to encourage free expression of what we think and feel. And we want to encourage you to share your observations about the process that we've just gone through. So this few hours together. And thank you for the scribes. And the floor is open. Raise your hand if you'd like to share any evaluation for today. Debbie.
I was happy to see so many facilitators and how we have so many more skilled facilitators for formal consensus.
Thank you. David?
Yes, this was a technical thing. First of all, I'm really impressed with how these meetings are run. I said that yesterday. I joined with a second with my mobile phone, and then the doorkeeper tried to contact me several times, and I didn't know how to respond from my mobile phone. And so a discussion during the break was what anyone needs to do if they're going to have two things working, etc. I've got a laptop and my mobile, is if you're on your laptop or your desktop where you have more options to personally contact the doorkeeper and say, I'm about to join with my mobile phone, and then they'll know to recognize you and just let you carry on, let you in, let you carry on. So that was that. It's very smooth. I'm impressed.
Thank you, David. Any other evaluation of today's meetings? Thoughts, comments, observations, concerns? Debbie, your hand is still up. Is that just because you didn't?
No, it's a new one.
Okay, here we go. Go for
I
it.
really appreciate that the structure of these business meetings over the 2 weekends gives us a full week to think about the concerns from a proposal.
Thank you. Anybody else? Renee?
I just want to say thank you to the Agenda Planning Committee for figuring out how to run all this so smoothly, and for all the help from Kelsey that we get to keep things running well. Thank you all.
Thank you, Renee. Harold?
Just taking a moment to appreciate the interspersing between taking care of tasks or work items and having more light and lively or having breaks. I feel it's a nice balance of, it's a good workflow. I like it.
Thank you, Harold. Anybody else? Another comment, Harold? Oh, you disappeared. Tommy. Unmute, please.
Lots to keep track of. The same thing is that we have come such a long way, and all of you who orchestrated this entire thing for the 2 weekends online like this, just thank you so much. I mean, that's a lot of work, and it's nice to have a sense of the ongoing nature of we can't do everything in these meetings, but the meetings that are being arranged now before the next major meetings, the next weekend, I think they're just as important as these meetings. And it just seems that they just fell into place today. I mean, they just happened. So it's really appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tommy. Ariel?
I'd like to echo the appreciation from Tommy and Harold for the light and livelies and an opportunity to promote my own embodiment during the meetings. I would like to add that for me personally, it would be more helpful to start with an embodiment practice. I found the first light and lively actually kind of felt interruptive in where it was placed in the meeting.
Thank you. And just for the scribes, there was a thumbs up for that comment, just so that we have it on record. Mary Lou? Unmute, please.
I want to thank Ethics Advisory Committee for putting the lovely items that we had from 20 years ago or 30 years ago and now. I really like seeing them side by side, the ways that we're thinking about them then and now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see that it's time. One last comment or anybody else before we move on? Okay. So the last thing that I was asked to do was seeing each other. So it's up to you if you'd like to stand, jump, lie down, or stay seated. I'd like you to find somebody and imagine that you have eye contact with that person. You don't have to tell us who it is. Just have eye contact with somebody on the screen. I counted 53 people before, so one of them. And now open your gaze and choose 2 people and see if you can have 2 people that you're looking at. And widen and soften the gaze even more and have 4. And see if you can choose 6 people, whether you know them well or you don't know them at all, or you will know them. And now for the last moments of today's AGM, look at everybody and wave goodbye. Have a wonderful time. How did it go, Diane? Don't delay, vote today, and please show up for the next weekend and have a wonderful week. And it's great to see all of you. Take care.